Is it just me, or does summer feel extra busy? I'm so busy trying to keep up with my work and commitments, but also desperately wanting to be fun mom, saying yes to everything. One more play date, one more party to host, one more late night project, one more social obligation. You know the feeling. Your calendar is overflowing, your to do list is a mile long, and your body is screaming at you to slow down and take a nap. You're feeling resentful, you're running on fumes, and you're snapping at your husband and kids, wondering how you got here. You know something's got to change, but you're not sure what. Hey, ladies, welcome back to episode 22 of Not Just Moms, the podcast where we get brutally honest about living our most unapologetic, abundant lives. Beyond just the diaper duty and the carpool lines, I'm your host, Stephanie No, your life and mindset coach, and mom of 3 girls who keep me humble every day. You're working so hard, trying to do all the things, trying to be all the things for everyone else. If it all sounds too familiar, then you already know deep in your bones that we have to talk about it. The power of no. Learning to set healthy boundaries isn't a luxury. It's a non-negotiable for any woman who wants to live a life she actually loves, rather than one she constantly feels obligated to. For someone whose last name is No, you would think it's super easy for me to say it. But it was quite the opposite for me. Now, I get it. As a recovering people pleaser, for us women, saying no almost feels wrong. It feels selfish. And it makes sense. We've been conditioned since childhood to be good girls, to be helpful, to be accommodating. We hate disappointing others or being seen as difficult, and we strive to avoid disappointing others. And if you grew up first generation like me, that conditioning can go even deeper. The pressure to please, to save face, or never impose, it's so powerful, it's almost suffocating. But here's my unapologetic truth. That conditioning is actively depleting your energy, stealing your precious time, and keeping you from building the life you truly desire. In today's episode, we're going to dive deep into understanding what boundaries really are, why they're absolutely crucial for your well-being, and most importantly, how to start implementing them effectively, even when every fiber of your being screams to just say yes. I'm going to give you the practical strategies and the mindset shifts you need to reclaim your time, protect your energy, and finally stop settling for less than you deserve. So let's get into the power of no. All right, before we get into the strategies, let's define our terms. What are boundaries? Think of them not as walls that push people away, but instead as fences that protect your space. They're clear limits you set to define what you will and will not accept in terms of behavior, time, energy, and communication. It's about respecting yourself first so you can show up authentically and powerfully for others without resentment. We're talking about different kinds of boundaries here. Physical boundaries, your personal space, your body, your belongings. Example, please ask before you take my car keys, or I'm not comfortable with unexpected visitors. Emotional boundaries, protecting your feelings and emotional energy. Example, I can't talk about that emotionally draining topic today. Let's hold for another day. Mental boundaries, protecting your thoughts and beliefs from being invalidated or overwhelmed by others. Example, I appreciate your advice, but I've already made a decision. Or let's agree to disagree on that political topic. Time boundaries, protecting your most precious, non-renewable resource. This is a big one for us moms. Example, I can't take on that project this week. Or my evenings after 8 p.m. are reserved for my family. I remember so clearly once in a coaching session, I was just complaining about how someone never respects my time and always expects me to be available. And my coach at the time gently suggested creating boundaries. And my immediate reaction was, no, I don't want to be mean. But then she painted a picture that forever changed how I saw boundaries. She said, okay, Stephanie, let's say you have a beautiful, pristine front lawn. You love it, but the same neighbor and their dog walk by every single day, and that dog poops on your lawn every day. You get upset, you complain about it to your husband, you stay up at night obsessing about how this dog disrespects you and doesn't care about your beautiful lawn. My coach asked, what do you do? And I said, I don't know. She asked me, why don't you build a fence around your lawn to protect it? Now, the neighbor's dog no longer poops on your lawn. It simply walks by. See, that simple story, that's the power of boundaries. Why is setting these boundaries absolutely crucial for self-care and preventing burnout? Because if you don't have them, you become a human doormat or lawn, right? You give and give until there's nothing left. You're constantly reacting to everyone else's needs and demands instead of proactively building the life you want. This leads to exhaustion, resentment, diminished self-worth, and eventually total burnout. I mean, sound familiar? It's not just about being tired. It's about being depleted down to your soul. So just like in the lawn and dog example, you waste so much energy mentally and physically trying to avoid the discomfort of confrontation. But what you forget is you're actually living every day in a different kind of discomfort. The complaining, the whining, the staying up and stressing. And little did you know that setting boundaries or building that fence to protect your lawn or your energy was all that it takes to signal what you're willing to accept or tolerate in your life. So while it feels really restrictive, setting boundaries actually leads to more freedom, physically and mentally. Now let's get real about why we women in particular struggle with this. I mean, it's ingrained in us. The fear of disappointing others. We hate the fact that they might think we're not nice or helpful. The wanting to be helpful or be the fixer. We genuinely want to solve problems, make things easier for others, especially those that we love. And societal conditioning and guilt, from childhood, we're taught to be agreeable. The word selfish is weaponized against women who dare to prioritize their own needs. We feel guilty for even thinking about saying no. We become expert people pleasers because it's what we've been rewarded for. But here's the powerful flip side. When you implement healthy boundaries, the benefits are immense. Increased energy and vitality. You're no longer constantly leaking energy to things that don't serve you. You reclaim it for your priorities. Better relationships. Yes, you heard me right. Healthy boundaries actually improve relationships because when you stop resenting and instead you start showing up as your authentic, non-depleted self, your connections become stronger, more respectful, and more joyful. And more time for priorities. Imagine having actual space for your business goals, your creative projects, your self-care, or simply just being present with your family instead of perpetually distracted by obligations. And finally, a greater self-respect. Every no you say to something that doesn't serve you is a yes to yourself. It's an act of self-love and self-respect, and it builds that confidence from inside out. Okay, so now that we understand why boundaries are our new best friends, let's talk about the how. This is where we stop settling and start taking unapologetic action. So number one, identify your limits. Know your energy drains. You can't set a boundary if you don't know what you're protecting. For the next week, I want you to be a detective. Pay attention to what drains your energy, what leaves you feeling resentful, and what steals your time without giving anything back. Is it endless texts from a demanding friend? Too many volunteer shifts at school? Unrealistic expectations at work? Identify those leaks. What do you need to protect? Your morning routine? Your family dinner time? Your mental space from constant negativity? Get crystal clear on your non negotiables. Number 2, communicate clearly and assertively. Practice your no. So, this is where the rubber meets the road. Saying no doesn't have to be aggressive or apologetic, it can be kind, firm, and respectful. Here are a few ways to phrase it. Find what feels authentic to you. The direct no. No, I can't do that. Sometimes that's all you need. The no, but. No, I can't take on that project this week, but I can check in next month. It offers an alternative if it's appropriate for you. The no, because. No, I can't volunteer for that bake sale because my evenings are dedicated to family time right now. Brief, honest, and no over explaining. The preemptive no. Just letting you know my phone is off after 8 p.m. so I can fully disconnect. It sets the expectation before it's even asked. The let me get back to you. Let me check my calendar and get back to you by tomorrow. It buys you time to assess rather than say an impulsive yes. So practice these phrases in front of a mirror. Get comfortable with the words. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Number 3, be consistent, hold the line. This is perhaps the hardest part, especially when people push back. Boundaries are only effective if they're consistent. If you say no once, but yes the next 5 times, your boundary isn't clear. People will test you. Not always maliciously, but because they're used to the old you. So expect some initial discomfort or even pushback. This is where your inner strength will shine. So hold the line, repeat your boundary clearly and calmly. Remember, you are not responsible for other people's reactions to your boundaries. You are responsible for protecting your peace. And number 4, manage guilt. Acknowledge and release. I know, the guilt, it's like a clingy toddler, isn't it? When you say no, that little voice pops up and tells you, you're so selfish, you're a bad friend, or you're a terrible mom. Well, you know what? Acknowledge that feeling. Say, hello, guilt, I see you. Think about it as a backseat passenger. It can be there, but it's just coming along for the free Uber ride until you decide it's time to drop it off somewhere. To work through the guilt, let's reframe it. Remind yourself, every no to an external obligation is a yes to your well-being, your priorities, and your unapologetic life. It's an act of self-love and not selfishness. If you can't protect yourself, who will? Let's be honest, you cannot pour from an empty cup, and a depleted, resentful you serves no one well in the long run. Number 5, start small, build your boundary muscle. Don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight. Pick one small area where you consistently say yes when you actually mean no. Maybe it's turning off work notifications after a certain hour. Maybe it's saying no to one extra playdate this week, or politely declining to take on another school committee. Practice with less challenging situations first. Build that boundary muscle slowly. The more you practice, the stronger you become, and the easier it gets to tackle bigger ones. Number 6, prioritize your needs. Your well-being is a non-negotiable. This is the ultimate mindset shift. You are worthy of having your needs met. Your well-being, your energy, your time, these are valuable assets. They are non-negotiable. When you prioritize yourself, you are not being selfish. You are filling your cup so that you can then show up fully, authentically, and joyfully for the people and passions that truly matter. This is about stopping the compromising when it comes to you. So, how do we take all of this and actually put it into action this week? Here are 3 practical tips that you can use to start setting boundaries in your life right now. So, identify one boundary you need to set this week, just one, and make it manageable. Is it saying no to one extra commitment, protecting 15 minutes of quiet time, not checking work emails after 6 p.m.? Write it down. And number 2, pre-script your no. So before the situation even arises, think about how you'll phrase your boundaries. Practice it out loud, and having the words ready reduces the likelihood of impulsive yeses. And lastly, find a boundary buddy. Share your boundary goal with a trusted friend, partner, or fellow ambitious mom. Have them check in with you. Accountability can be a powerful motivator. And reach out to me, and I will be your accountability partner. As you embark on this journey, please be kind to yourself. Learning to say no is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. There will be moments of discomfort. There will be times you slip up. That's okay. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and gently recommit. This isn't about perfection. It never is. It's about the progress. This is an act of deep self-respect. It's about recognizing your worth, protecting your energy, and creating space for the things that truly light you up. Remember, you're not just a mom. You're a powerful, ambitious woman building a life of unapologetic abundance. And that life requires conscious and courageous no's. Speaking of unapologetic living, next time on Not Just Moms, we're going to dive into the often misunderstood world of true self-care beyond the bubble baths and face masks. We're talking about the habits that actually fill your cup and fuel your ambition. You won't want to miss it. So as we close out today's episode, remember, the power of no is one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal for protecting your energy, reclaiming your time, and fueling your unapologetic abundance. Every no to what doesn't serve you is a yes to the life you're actively building. Your challenge for this week: identify just one area where you need to set a clear boundary and then take that courageous step to implement it. You've got this. As always, thank you for listening to Not Just Moms. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with another girlfriend who needs to hear this message. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Your support helps us reach more ambitious women who are ready to stop settling and start living their dream lives. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.